Okay, just like that, another portable Clint is in session. All right, guys. I said another guy somewhere down the road was my biggest competition. But dude, if I ever had bigger competition than this guy, I don't know who it is. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite competitor, Bob Stephenson. Hey, what is up, friend? How are you?
Good,
Get
good.
up here, dude. Scoot on up here, man.
A minute.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
Bob Stephenson.
Hi.
How are you, friend?
I'm good, dude. I'm really good. Thanks for having me.
Dude, my pleasure.
Portable Clint?
Yeah. Bob, when did you roll into town?
1988.
1988.
Yeah.
I got here in 87.
Yeah, so I was here and I was a PA for 5 years, working on just music videos and stuff. And
wait, well, hold on. Now,
yeah.
you working for music videos, will that play a part in your life later? Or try to play a part in your life later?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I worked at a place called Propaganda Films. That was basically, that was like, I didn't go to film school, so that was my film school, and being on sets all the time, I just got thrown into the fire, which was great. And then I started working with all these amazing directors, and from David Fincher to Spike Jonze and Michael Bay and David Kellogg and Herb
David
Ritchie.
Kellogg.
Yeah.
What's David Kellogg doing these days?
He's
do you know?
a teacher, I think, at USC. He graduated there. He was like a big time
Bob,
editing guy.
I want everybody to hear you. Get a little bit closer, please, sir, if you don't mind. There you go. There you go. All right. The sound gets kind of cuckoo up here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I didn't mean to cut you off. He's teaching. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's teaching at USC. That's
Okay.
it, yeah.
So you do that. Were you acting while you were doing the work?
No, I was not acting. I, in fact, was. Hold on, open
Do
up.
it.
I was. No, I wanted to be an actor, but I didn't want to wait tables to do it. I wanted to get in the mix, and then kind of, I wasn't acting in college at all. I was just trying to get the heck out of college. I just kind of went because my parents wanted me to go to college. So I just had the worst grades. I just had to get out of there, start making some money.
Okay, well then tell me. So you're working. Tell me how you get sucked in. How somebody says, "Hey, come on
Well,
in."
so I started. What happened was I wanted to write. I realized that as a PA. I was like, wait, no one listens to you as a PA. So but if you write, you can. It's the only thing you can do where people can't tell you not to do it. Where in acting, you have to audition and everything else. You got to get hired for it. But writing, I can just start writing spec scripts. I don't have any. So I did. I got an Apple credit card at the time, and I put myself in debt right away. And I bought a Mac, and I just started teaching myself how to write screenplays. And so I started writing. And then some of the directors started reading them, and then they started asking me to help them write treatments for videos and commercials. Like they wanted somebody to do the writing for them. And so then I went from PAing to writing full time. I just got my back was started. I was like, I can't keep unloading trucks all the time. And I'm like, I'm just going to be a writer. And I got down to my last can of beans, and I got a job writing, and then I made 6 figures. That's the first year I ever made 6 figures in my life, and I was just writing treatments for directors. Yeah.
Okay, but Bob, you did something this is how I first was impressed with you. Okay, You started doing something. You started buying up old Republican picture movie scripts.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, dude, because that was really impressive when I heard that you did this.
I was so my manager at the time. This is much later, but my manager at the time found the guy that owns.
Bob, I love you, dude, but you're gonna get all the way up here, There we go. Because we got airplanes going by and everything. Go ahead. No, it's all good. It's all good, dude. Look at that.
Look at us.
See, we're good. It's all good.
I'm looking over here. Right?
Yeah, you can look wherever you want.
Okay.
But this is just the guy hanging out with us. We don't always have to talk to him.
Oh.
He's just hanging out. He doesn't even talk back to us.
He doesn't give us beers.
No, he doesn't give us beers, man.
He doesn't give us anything. So the guy that owns has the rights to all those old Republic Pictures scripts. My manager had met him, and he's an older gentleman, very sweet guy, and he's got this stuff, and he wanted to. So I started combing through all of it. He's got a library. I mean, it's like 2,000 scripts. And
okay, what do you call that when something isn't no longer copywritten anymore?
Eminent domain.
Eminent domain, and
Oh
that's
no,
what
is
you
that,
did.
is that what is that is it
But it's a public domain,
public domain?
and that's
it.
what
Yeah,
and that's how you took advantage of this situation.
No, I mean he basically would work with you. He would end up being a producer on it, but he would, you know, if you gave him a good enough breakdown of what you wanted to do with it, he was willing to kind of give you the property for free. So,
Okay.
and they're like a year deal, you know, and then kind of
Okay.
go year by year on each one. So, and then so I started writing those. We got real close on 2 of them, and then he got a little difficult to deal with, and then it all fell apart.
Okay. Was that the same time?
Which
was that,
is what happens in this town all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Was that happening at the same time you were writing these treatments for these directors?
No, that was just a little after that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Let's go back to these directors
Yeah.
asking you to write.
Yep.
When did they start saying, hey, dude, why don't you get in front of the camera?
So when I was pitching them ideas and stuff, and they said, "Oh, that's pretty funny. You should come in and audition for this." And
Like, who's saying this
Like
to you?
Simon West was one of the first to say it, and then Spike Jones said it, and then so I did, and Simon put me in some. Well, Simon actually Spike was the first one to put me in a Coors Light commercial.
Okay.
So.
Out of MJZ Productions? What is
No,
it?
that he was at Propaganda at the time.
Okay, that's
before
right.
he was there,
Okay,
and so
okay.
so he put me in that, and then so I was a must join, and then David Fincher. I was still PAing, and I was PAing on a big Budweiser campaign back in the. I don't know if people remember, but it was like the Marianne or Ginger, and they would like compare all the
Yes.
all the like I don't know, and so I was on set, and he goes, "Hey, Bob, I want you to go sit over in that big club chair over there, and you passed out, and you just do that, like in the middle of the."
Who's David? This is David Fincher
Yeah,
telling you?
yeah.
Okay.
So I went over and I did it a bunch of times, and he finally pulled. And at first I said, Dave, I can't do it. I'm a must join, and I don't have the money to join, because it was, I think at the time too, it was $1,300 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And I said, I don't have the money to join. I can't do it. And so he goes, God damn it! Points me, walks away, he comes back, puts his finger in my chest, get in the chair, you're in fucking SAG. And he walks away. I was like, no way.
Oh, man.
So I owe him everything. He paid for me to be in SAG, and then I sat in the chair, and we did it a bunch of times, and people were laughing, and then he pulls me aside, he goes, you can't do it. Budweiser doesn't want a drunk guy in the commercial, so we can't have a drunk guy sitting in the corner of the commercial. So I ended up not even doing it anyway, but I got in SAG. So.
Really? That's
Yeah.
a great story, man.
Yeah.
Okay, but you kind of keep a relationship going with David Fincher, right?
I love that guy.
Okay, but so who else is saying yes to you to get into the project? Like Fincher, and who is the other guy? Simon West.
Simon West. Okay, yeah. So Simon West and Spike Jones, and then David Kellogg did, and it just started to kind of blow up a little bit, and again, so that's kind of when I stopped writing treatments, and then I went like 4 years writing treatments, and then I stopped writing treatments and said, okay, I got to act, and again I went down. Literally, I'm not joking. I had 2 cans of stuff in my pantry, and I got a job, and then it took off. It's always like 1 step back, 2 steps forward for me on these weird things. It's happened to me like 3 times in my life, where there's like these things where I'm like, I'm gonna do this. At a certain point I have to just say I'm gonna do this, and then I do it, and then it has worked out.
So how did you get that? What was that job that you got when you were down to 2 cans? You said you booked a job. What was the job?
Yeah,
was that?
so I booked a oh man, I can't remember the commercial now. It was
it with one of those guys though?
yeah, I was with one of those guys, and I can't remember the commercial though.
Okay, that's fine.
Anyway, yeah.
So tell me, when do you start getting your own commercial?
It might have
agent?
been like Con Air. It might have been like, I think it might have been Con Air. I remember like Simon West put me in Con Air.
That was your first movie?
Yeah, it was like my first, I think it was, no, my first movie would have been,
I thought Con Air was Michael Bay.
no, that Con Air was Simon West.
And Michael Bay, did he do any of
No,
it?
it was just
okay.
Bruckheimer. It was Bruckheimer who produced
Oh, that's what it is. I knew there was a connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the first movie I did, I think, was not Alien, 7?
7 is
Yeah.
your first one on your IMDb.
Yeah, okay, 7.
Dude, I mean, the way to start a career.
I know. Go ahead, take that. It can only go down from here.
I mean, dude.
Coming in hot.
Wow. So you booked 7, and was that one of those things where you working behind the scenes and he told you to get in?
No,
or
I had to go audition for it, and I had, which was, there's like 2 little, lines that I had to do or something, and so yeah, he made me go audition for it, for sure.
And that's just to get the studio's approval on you, right?
Yeah.
So you do that. How many times do you think you've worked for David Fincher all together? And that's just you being in front of the camera.
Just as an actor?
Yeah.
Or is it, because I worked for him a bunch, writing and for, well, let's see, I mean, I don't know how many commercials. I mean, it's got to be like 12, 15 times, I'd say.
And that is both theatrical and commercially?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get so lucky to bump into him? Is all working on a set?
Yeah, it was just PAing. He always did the big commercials, like the really big commercials.
I know.
And so I made sure to always PA on those commercials. So like those were the ones you wanted to be on. So I did, and then I just stood around the camera and tried to hang out. And like,
you remember the moment he goes, "Hey, what's your name, dude? Bob, get over here, Bob. Let me talk to you."
I don't, but I do remember he liked to play football, and there was a Nerf football on set. So then after that, every job I would make sure and buy a Nerf football and have it on set, and so we could play. He's a massive football fan, so we could play catch. And but then I would bust my ass. He doesn't like people that don't work, so
right.
you know, I'll play if you want to play. But it wasn't like we were running around just playing catch all the time. But
Okay.
yeah, he doesn't like it if you're not working.
So Bob, I got to ask you this question: what do you feel like you work more on? Theatrical jobs or commercial jobs?
I've done more commercials. I'd say more commercials.
Bob Stephenson here. I'm gonna jump all the way forward.
Okay.
You and I last year were up for 2 gigs at the same time, and I feel like you booked them both.
Yeah.
I don't know
if I did.
No, you booked the Geico commercial that played like crazy.
The lawnmower guy. Yeah.
So every time I was
really
at home watching football, I was reminded that you booked it over me.
Oh.
And it was down to, and I believe it was just you and I on a bell. That's the way I heard it.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's...
I heard that too.
So anyway,
I
but
was sad.
but again,
I was sad,
Bob,
but happy.
you and I both know we like to see each other working no matter what.
Yep.
So I'm always happy. Okay, so Bob, I want to get into something.
Yeah.
So you're working theatrical, you're working commercial.
Yeah.
When does it first become slow for you, or did you hit a dry spell? When was your first dry spell?
I'm gonna say 8 years ago, I think maybe. Like I feel like it was 8 or 9 years ago. Like when kind of around the writer's strike, things started getting a little bit kind of. I think that was for a lot of people too. I don't think it was just for me, but I think that was sort of a certain time.
Yeah, I remember. When did you book Jericho?
Oh man, that.
Because I feel like right before you booked Jericho, you told me you were down to a can of beans.
I did that. Maybe that was the one.
Because I remember that. I'm like, and I remember like going, okay, sometimes you got to get down to a can of beans to book your big gig.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Maybe because at a certain point you just get, maybe the desperation goes away. Because when you're desperate and you walk into a room, it's never good. But then at a certain point, you're kind of like, I'm just going to go in there and do it, whatever. If they don't want me, they don't want me.
I've booked many gigs with that in mind. Like, dude, I give up. And they just go in there and just do it, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I better get it. I got to get it.
I got to get this, because they can smell that.
They smell that big time.
That happens a lot in commercial auditions. I know, because when I was strapped, and I've realized now, and I see friends doing it now who aren't doing so well, and you go in and you start doing what you think they want you to do because you just want to get the ad so bad that you don't care, and that's not you. Like that, everybody's doing that. You realize that, wait, I can't. I'm not going to book this job. I'm not going to be different than anyone else if I'm doing what they're doing. So I have to. Don't do exactly what you think they want you to do. Just do what you want to do.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, do you have a card that you go to? Something that, if all else fails, you play this card inside of a commercial audition?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, I feel like I'm not calling you dumb by any means. Like, but we play dumb guys.
Sure.
And do you have a set thing that you do playing dumb? Like, here's the way I play dumb. Just like that. Which I look like that all the time. So I don't know what that's saying.
I don't know. I mean, I probably do.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine if you don't know. But if you don't know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're booking. You come across something. I don't know if I didn't ask you if I could bring this up or not. But I'm going to say you started writing a script about your days being a PA.
Oh, right. Yep.
I can talk about this?
Yeah, you can talk about it, yeah.
Okay, so you start writing a script about commercial directors in the late 80s?
So I had written a script. The very first script I wrote in 1989 was a script about PA. And some people had read it, and then it went nowhere, and it didn't matter. It didn't have anything to do with cut to 5 years ago, David Fincher gets a 4-show deal with HBO. And a year before that, I had brought up, man, I had this whole vision of how this one scene would look, and I said about being a PA and during music videos and doing live videos, and we used to have to, when they were using real film on the cameras, every camera, there'd be 8 cameras inside the arena, and every camera had a film PA, and you had to stand there, and they would run out of film, and they would pull it off, put another one on, and then literally reach over and hand it to you, and then you had to sprint as fast all the way through the crowd, all the way backstage, and there's 2 trucks with it, and you hand it, and you get a new one, and you got to sprint all the way back out.
I remember that.
And
yes.
So I was saying, like, how cool that would be to, like, watch this, just follow this kid through the crowd while this, like, music's going.
Bob,
And he was like,
yes.
and then a year later, he got this HBO deal. He goes, dude, remember that thing that you said? I was like, yeah. He goes, we're going to make that. And I was like, okay. I don't even know if he remembered. And he was like, but he had remembered. He goes, we're going to make that. We're going to make that a show. And I was like, okay. And so then we sat down and plotted it out.
Were you freaking out when he's saying that to you?
Yeah,
We're
I
going to
was
make
like,
your script?
Yeah, I was like, well, it's not my script. We hadn't have a script yet. We started from scratch. We just totally
Just with
started
that
from
one
scratch.
little thing that you
Yeah,
said
yeah.
years earlier.
Yeah.
People like that never forget anything.
I know,
You would
it's-
think that they won't remember it because they're too busy, but they remember every little bitty thing.
Especially. He's incredible. Like, he can compartment, and he is multitask amazing. Like, yeah, he goes through, we would go through scripts and do notes, and he's got 3 other projects going on, and he sits there in front of you, and he goes page by page and literally, like, highlights single words, and he just goes from beginning to end. He never ever says, yeah, this area is a little, it's always this specifically, this specifically, this specifically. And he's amazing. He's really great at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you start writing the script,
Yeah.
thinking, go ahead, what are you thinking when you're writing the script?
Well, so I tell him, because it's a 10-episode TV show for HBO, that I tell him, like, can we bring somebody else in, because I've never done this before. So I was like, I don't want to just do this on my own, because I've never run a show before, and I have to hire writers and have a writer's room going and stuff. So this guy who adapted the Motley Crue book, The Dirt,
Right?
Rich Wilkes, who I love, he was the first guy who came.
You know him personally?
Nope.
Okay.
Now I do, but he sent us. Dave knew him because Dave at the time was trying to do The Dirt, was trying to direct The Dirt. So he said, "Here, read this." So I read it, and I said, "This is amazing." And I read the book, The Dirt. So I was like, "This is a great adaptation."
I hear it's a great book.
It's really good. It's really good.
I'm gonna get it.
You should, for sure. It's really good. And I loved it. And the guy came in, we hit it off. We're both like the exact same age. It was really fun, and he was great to work with. So then we got together, just starting to piece this thing together. How do we got in front of a giant whiteboard and just started, like, here's characters, what happens here, where do we go, what do we do, and what characters do we need, this and that, and just built a model, basically from scratch.
How long did this take you to write out the whole thing?
Almost 3 years.
Okay, so 3 years.
2.5 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just say 3 years
Yeah.
for dramatic purposes. Okay, what happens when you're done writing it?
Well, so what happened was we wrote the pilot, then we hand that in, then they read it, and they said, okay, we like that. So now write the next 2 episodes.
Okay.
And so we go, okay, so now we got to really plot this out. We write the next 2 episodes, and they said, okay, now we want a Bible for the other 7.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, so then we had to go through and write all that, hand that in, and they go, we like it, we're going to go. It's green light.
That's 3 years right there?
That's like, that's over 3 years.
Okay.
And then, so then we cast and we put it all together, and we...
Are you in the casting room and everything?
No, I wanted to be, but Dave doesn't. It's all Dave.
It's all good. Yeah. I mean, who's kidding who?
No,
right?
exactly. I mean, it's like, what am I going to say? But like, so then.
What are you thinking at home when this is happening? Are you flipping out like, dude, I cannot believe I wrote something and it's in production?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, every day you're freaking out?
When we got the green light, I went home and I started cranking music and I cried. I just totally cried. I was like, this is the most insane thing ever, because I mean, just to work so hard and get something off the ground like that, and to be like, this is really happening, and then like, and I'm making some money that I need.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of money. It's very all writer WGA minimum stuff. So, but it was. Yeah, it was. I just didn't believe it. It's just crazy.
Okay, so you turn in everything.
Yep.
And then they say, okay, let's do it.
Yep.
So
then we cast and we do all that, and we get all the locations together.
Who were some of the leads? Anybody that I know?
No, it's mostly all because they're PAs, so mostly kids, that like a lot of like.
That's fine.
No,
that's good. That's fine.
Yeah, and then we so then the first day of shooting, the crazy thing, first day of shooting is on my birthday, May 18th. That's the first day of shooting, and I was like, this is amazing. Like,
wow, okay.
So I did that, and then we ended up, to get to the end, we ended up shooting 4 episodes.
Slow down though, but don't go fully into it.
Okay,
so you do 4 episodes.
Well, we're moving along. They have a couple notes that they want to do, and David is resisting the notes. And at the same time, at HBO, there's a lot of upheaval because their shows aren't working, and the president of HBO at the time, Michael Lombardo, was under a lot of pressure. So we're sort of feeling that. And
was this your first sign of trouble?
Yeah.
Did you start freaking out on this sign of trouble?
No, because it came up really quick. Because we kind of something's going on, and you got David Fincher, so you're like, okay, well he's helming the ship. We're cool, I guess. So like, and then we go in, we do read-throughs for each episode. So we go to do a read-through for episode 5, and we do the read-through, and at the end of the read-through, the HBO guys get up and leave really fast, and then some other people leave, and then suddenly I'm sitting there with Rich, the other writer, and Fincher, and the other actors get up and they go out a different door with the AD, and then we're just sitting there, and I look over at Dave, like, why are you still sitting here? And we're just like alone in this room, and he goes, okay, so here's what happened.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's like, so HBO came into my office this morning. They said, we want to shut it down for 15 days and kind of see what we got. And then also to him, because he had these other projects going, they said, and we want to cut your budget on this other project you're doing, and we want input on casting on this other project. And he was like, no, that, they just...
Did all of that happen because of this project?
I think partially this project. We were the most expensive half-hour show they had ever made.
Okay.
So it was $50 million for a half-hour show.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, it was, but they I think it was partly that. But like I said, Michael Lombardo was spending so much money on, Vinyl was not a success, and he had a lot of other things that weren't working, and then he got fired. And then right when we shut down, because we said we can't shut down in 15 days. We got to edit. That's going to take 2 months. Then we got to look through. Then we got to rewrite, figure out what you want to do. And now we have. We're talking about, we haven't even started episode 5, and we're already building things for episode 9. You have to build out that long, because it's an 80s period piece. Like, it's like you have to get. We're way ahead of that, And what they should have done, looking back, is they should have let us finish the show. And if they want to do tweaks, let us go back and then reshot some stuff instead of just shutting it down. But I don't know. It's not my call. So like, yeah.
So it gets shut down.
Yeah.
And you're thinking after 15 days you're coming back.
I'm not thinking we're coming back after 15 days, because it's not possible to come back after 15 days. Like, we all know that, like, that's not. So we ended up editing to see what we had. They loved the first 2 episodes, and then we were editing the second 2 that we had shot, and then we're going into a month and a half of editing, and then we're piecing it together, and then we're like, okay, they wanted, if they do the show for cheaper, it's like, well, we can cut out one of the episodes, like the last episode, we can move everything forward, and then so we just go into like super, tweak mode, trying to figure out how to like rearrange things and make it more affordable, and but it was just never coming back. It was at that point it was too far down. The crew had been let go. Everything, we lost locations, and so Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like I almost touched Everest, and then I slid all the way back down the bottom.
What's that like? Obviously, I know what it's kind of like, but tell me what that's like for you. Was it dark days in Hollywood
Yeah,
for you? Was
yeah.
this the darkest time that you've been through?
That was really shitty. Yeah, it was really shitty. It's hard because you lose friends from that. It's like people that were associated with the show, but like they were sad about the show, so then it strains relationships a little bit, and then it's like you thought you were. I mean, that's as close as you can get to not. It's not, and it'll never be seen. There's 4 episodes sitting out there cut.
Have you ever seen them?
Oh yeah, I've seen them a bunch of times, but we're not allowed to show them, and they'll never show them. So
Okay, so let me ask you this. And so does it make it tough because all the commercial actors that you know have heard about it? So every time you go to an audition, are they bringing it up?
Oh yeah, every time I go to writing, like to meet, that a lot of times we'd go to for like pitch things, and they just wanted to hear the story. They just wanted to know what happened. So they would ask you about, oh yeah, whatever happened to that? And you're like, okay. And you're like, that's the only reason I'm over here, right? Is to kind of hear it because, when David Fincher has a show like that's that big shooting around town about the 80s, which is like his wheelhouse, everyone was like psyched to see that show,
Yeah.
and we kept it under wraps, like it was super top secret. I tried to get you a part of that.
I know you did.
Yeah.
You told me, dude, and seriously, that means a lot to me, man.
I did.
I know you did. I know you did.
Yeah.
Dude, she told me.
Yeah, she did.
Because I came in for the other show, Manhunter or something like that. And that's when she told me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. That's the worst time.
Yeah.
What's been the best time? Because I've seen you've had a lot of valleys or peaks. You've hit a lot of peaks in Hollywood.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've done pretty well. I would say, the best is when that show got greenlit. I was never happier than when I was writing on that show. Like that was my favorite thing in the world to do. Like,
so one project was your best and worst.
And best and worst. Yeah, that was like that is like the dream job if I could do that again. And I constantly write pilots and pass them out. But I had the best time on that show. I just loved working on that.
Okay.
And probably with Dave because he's so good at what he does. But I just loved it. I felt like I was in my element. I loved being a part of something from the very beginning. As an actor, it's like as much as I love acting, but you understand, like you go and you do, those plates are pretty loud.
I know, but it adds to the ambiance.
Oh, it's ambiance.
Yeah.
When you do a job and then you're done with that job as an actor, you're done. You're out. You have nothing. You didn't have any input getting to there, and you have no input afterwards. Whereas like a writer, you're from beginning to end, tweaking the scripts and trying to get it right, and on set watching everybody and tweaking dialogue, and it's awesome to be a part of the macro, rather than just coming in, doing a thing, and you're out. But they're both great. But I really did like it, so I'd love to do more of that.
Are you writing stuff now?
All the time, yeah.
Okay.
The time, yeah.
Hey, we're going to start winding down, but I'm going to ask a couple of my questions because you're my competitor and I want to steal jobs over you.
Oh, can I tell you a story?
Please, you can tell me anything you want.
So, another one of our competition, I should say, Sam, so this AT&T spot that I just
Wait,
did.
what's Sam? I'm just making sure.
Carson.
Okay, yeah,
Sam
just
Carson,
making sure. I'm
who
just
we
making
love.
sure.
Love Sam Carson.
He's awesome.
Massive fantasy football.
Yeah.
fan. He was up for this part for this big AT&T job.
When?
This was 2 months ago.
Okay.
And I got the job, and I was like, what part am I going to play in this? I don't even understand. I show up, and it turns out I'm this kind of like, I hadn't shaved for a while on purpose, and I play this like really shitty magician in this backyard, like bad, the commercial's running now, but it's like bad bundle kind of a thing.
Yeah, I auditioned for it.
Yeah, okay. So, Sam, apparently, I only got the part because Sam got it, but he had already booked a one-day guest on.
Oh my gosh!
And he couldn't get out of it and do it. He was hoping that this was going to shoot like the day before or after the one-day guest. And it was an Animal Kingdom or something like that. And I'm like, dude, I owe you $1. No, I owe you. He goes, no, they would have booked you anyway. I go, I don't think so, dude. I think because I remember that part.
Who was the director?
Matt Aston.
Okay, well,
and he looks that part, he looks that part. I was like, he's gonna get that role, and so I got very, that's very fortunate that Sam couldn't make it, and I was just on the waiting list.
How many commercials do you think you shot with Matt?
I want to say 5, maybe.
He's so good, isn't he?
He's great. Yeah,
He really is.
Yeah, he's great. He's here now shooting his spot, the big decent spot.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
hopefully.
we're not in on it.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you this about auditions really quick. You get a 5-page audition for tomorrow.
Okay, I have one for tomorrow.
Okay. When do you start looking at it, and tell me how you break it down? Tell me about it. Tell me what you do.
I look at it right away.
Okay.
And then once, read through it, and then I put it down on purpose.
Everybody puts it down after they read it one time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is
Go
that
ahead.
true? That's
Yeah, for some reason they always say that. Okay,
well,
go ahead.
I want to get it in my head and know what it is, and then I know. Then it's because if I have, like, this one came in Thursday for Tuesday for tomorrow, so I have so much time that, like.
Do you feel like when you have too much time, you don't do as good as job?
No, I overdo it.
Same here.
I overcook
Same
it.
here.
I overcook
Yep.
it. Yep. And so that's why I purposely put it down and didn't start looking at it until last night.
Okay.
And this morning. So then I record all the offlines.
On what? On the app?
On the app, the little voice app. On the phone.
Which one? Oh, just your voice.
phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're saying all of your lines.
No, I record all the other lines.
Okay.
Not my lines.
Okay.
I say my lines to myself quietly while I'm recording it.
Okay.
And then I just play, then I read to that thing. So I just like play that thing over and over. That thing is, I just started doing that like a little over 4 years ago. And
Who told you to do that?
Nobody did. I was doing a project and I saw somebody else doing it. We had a ton of dialogue. It was crazy. We would shoot an episode every 2 days, and there were like 20-page scripts, and we would had a ton of dialogue. We would shoot 18 pages sometimes one day, like just crazy. Like so we had tons of stuff, and I saw a couple of the other guys who had earpieces in. They were constantly talking about it. And I was like, man, I'm gonna do that for this because this is so much stuff, and it's changed. It's
really?
like, yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Because the great thing about it is, it's one thing to sit there and do, but when you get in the room, sometimes you stumble because their pacing is different, or you know what I mean? Because if you're saying it to yourself, you're not really pacing like what it's going to come out at you. Like, so like putting it on tape and having it come back at you.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, and then I can also sort of, I don't know if you do this, but you kind of rehearse. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look down on this line because that one's kind of that one's catching me a little bit, and then I'm going to turn the page here, and I'm going to look up, and I'm going to do that. So I kind of choreograph the whole thing.
Sure, yeah.
So if I have that talking back to me, I can kind of practice those moments.
Well, I was going to ask you if you were off book when you go to auditions, but
I used to be off book, and
you used to be off book.
I used to be off book, and then what happened was I was in the room. I was doing it. I was kicking ass. I could see I had everyone there. There was like 5 of them on the couch. And I got to the last line and I popped out. I totally just lost focus. Boom. And it's one line. It wasn't that hard. And I completely, and because I was off book, I wasn't turning the pages of the script. So I couldn't just look down. So I went, and I had to find it again. And then I said the thing. And literally I see the director go, like that to me. And then like, they go, like that. And I was like, and they go, thank you. And I go, and I walk out. And it was Sherry Thomas.
Okay, yeah.
And so she goes, you can look at the script while you're doing it. And I was like, and that's it. Boop. Now I do. Now I try to be as off book as I can, but I don't freak myself out about it because I find you spend so much time just worrying about memorizing and not just...
That's what I do.
Yeah, because if you memorize, then you're so worried about just tripping up a line that rather than... it doesn't matter. And then I went online, I was looking like on YouTube, there's some really big actors that they have their tapes up there, and they're horrible. They're like basically reading it, like looking down constantly, and they're still booking, and I'm like, I'm just doing that. And every one of them says the same thing. They're always like, yeah, that's not what we're looking for. You're not supposed to have it memorized now, so don't worry about that. Just rather have you come in here, be relaxed, and do your thing. And that does relax me a lot more. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I can look down here. I can do this.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
You mess up on set. Do you take that home with you? Mess up on set meaning you blow a take. Just one take or 2 takes. Yeah. Do you take that home with you on the drive home in the next morning?
No, no. Unless it's like no. Like I think sometimes personally, like if there's like whatever reason you get a brain fart and you just can't hit this one word.
Yeah.
That might get me. Like I was on a film that we were shooting, and one of the guys, he kept tripping up, and we were like, dude, it's no big deal, don't worry about it. But he got into his head and he couldn't get it, and he's an amazing actor too, and he couldn't get it out, and he tripped up 3 different times, right? And it's like, dude, it's okay, and then later, I said, dude, you don't have to kick yourself. He goes, no, I never do that. And he said, but thank you for saying that. I was like, that's good, man. Don't worry about it. So, but yeah, I really get you, right?
Yeah, I've talked about that person before. The person who comes up to you on set when you're freaking out. There's always, there's not always, but there's always, hopefully, there's some guy who always comes up to you and goes, hey, dude, it's okay, man.
Yeah.
And it really helps.
Yeah.
When someone says, hey, dude, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, because we've all been there, and you feel for that person, and you know, there are too many assholes in this business that will let you fry, right? Because they're just they're insecure with themselves, so they want to see you trip up, you know. But yeah,
Bob, what a pleasure to have you on this show. I'm not kidding you. Like I said, you were on the original list, so I'm so glad that this has finally happened.
Thanks, man.
And you know, I got a lot of love for you, brother. You and I have been seeing each other in these rooms for a long time. Bob, do me a favor. Tell everybody bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, guys, I've never done this before, but I'm going to add a tag to this because this guy was in an awesome, legendary movie called Fight Club, directed by David Fincher. And you have a story about it, and I have not heard it, but you're about to tell me. I said, dude, let's just throw it on there and see what happens.
Do you know what the second rule of Fight Club is?
What's the first rule? Don't talk
about Fight Club.
Okay. What's the second rule?
That's the second rule, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're not supposed to talk about this.
We're not supposed to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Anyway, bye, guys. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so he wanted me to come in and read.
He being David Fincher.
David Fincher wanted me to come in and read for casting for this thing, and it was for the dry cleaner at the very end of the movie when he's retracing his steps. I don't know if you remember, there's a dry cleaner that at the end of the movie, he's got black eyes. So I read the whole script, and I read that part, and it was really small, and it was kind of in the middle of a sort of a montage, how he's moving around from place to place, and I go, man, if something gets cut, that's going to get cut, you know? Like you always being at our level, always have to think about that stuff, like what's going to stay and what's not going to stay. And I'm like, if they're going to cut something, they're going to cut that. So I saw this other part of the guy in the airport who talks about the dildos, you know, every time we have a dildo, it's a dildo, never your dildo. And I memorized it off book, and I went into Luray, and it was just me and
Luray
her.
Mayfield,
Luray
awesome,
Mayfield.
casting director.
So I went in there, and I did the dry cleaning thing. I did it, and I said, "Hey, Luray, can I read this other part? I have it off book. I can do it right now." And she was like, "I think he's looking for somebody older, like he wants an older guy there." And I said, "Okay, well, can I do it?" And I did it, and she didn't film it. She goes, "Okay, do it." So I did it, and then she laughed, and she goes, "Okay, do it again."
Just like we're doing right now.
Yeah, and then she laughed. She said, "That was great. And then next thing I know, I get a phone call, and Dave has me come in for that part, and it needs studio approval. So then I sit down in his office, and it's just him and Luray and me with the camera, and we did it 17 times, over and over. And yeah, don't lift your eyebrow, don't do this, do it this way, do it over. And like halfway through, I said, I'll just put the wardrobe on, we can shoot it. He goes, shut the fuck up, just keep going.
Oh, that's a good one, man. Okay,
anyway,
Bob.
that was my. I took a chance and it worked, and I was really happy because.
Well, dude, we got to take chances, right? But we get scared to take chances.
I know.
But when you do, they could be richly rewarded.
Yeah, it's like I get recognized for that part all the time.
You do, crazy, man. So. I mean, you were in Fight Club, dude. Okay. Tell everybody bye again.
Hi, everybody.